SNLF show. The Sussex Non-League Newsroom. SNLF show. The Sussex Non-League Newsroom. Lights on, mics live, county talking, midweek vibe, results in, tables move, every club's got something to prove. From the final whistle to the first headline, touchline whispers on the live timeline, scores drop, rumours flow, one place they all go. SNLF show. The Sussex Non-League Newsroom. SNLF show. Where the county tunes in. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, X and YouTube, Insta locked, step by step, ground by ground, Sussex football, that's the sound, wins, draws, big defeats, derby nights and changing seats, clubs on form, managers speak, who went top, who moved this week? SNLF show. The Sussex Non-League Newsroom. SNLF show. Say the name, let it boom. SNLF show. The Sussex Non-League Newsroom. Wednesday 8, you know where to go. SNLF show.
Good evening, everybody. How are you out here today? It is the SNLF show. There has been a total eclipse of the heart for people that are out there today. We've got Gareth just joined us. We've got a full house today. We have a big show planned. Matt, over to you with the intros.
Yes, good evening and welcome back to the SNLF show, the Sussex newsroom, bringing you all the latest non-league football across Sussex. We've got a big show coming up tonight, as I'm sure you're all aware. We'll be taking a look at the extra preliminary round of the FA Cup for our Sussex-based teams, as well as the opening round of fixtures in the SCFL Division 1. And we'll be checking in with our friends dotted across the Isthmian Leagues as well. We'll also be keeping you updated on the FA Cup replay between Lingfield and Corinthians, which I think has kicked off just a minute ago. And hopefully we'll be checking in with the ground at half-time, full-time. We will see. And of course, we've got two very big guests coming up later on in the show to clear the air, to get their story out there. We're talking facts, not fiction tonight, everybody. So this is not a show you're going to want to miss. So settle down, get comfy, and let's get started. So we are joined just in time by the Coffee King himself, Mr. Gareth Spinks. So first of all, where has everybody been over the weekend? Has everybody managed to catch a match?
I'll start because I've had a busy one. Good evening to everybody. Right, first and foremost, and we'll talk a little bit about it later. Saturday, what a wonderful day I had. I went down to watch Midhurst versus Larkfield and New Hive in the FA Cup there. Brilliantly laid on day by the lads from Midhurst. Shout out to Tom Merritt-Smith, the chairman there, for the hospitality. Met up with all the lads. Great game. Super hot. At the end of it, Midhurst came through convincing 2-0 winners. But I'll go a bit more into that later. And then Sunday, double header. I was away to Littlehampton to see my mates over there, Mitch Hand, Gaskin, and all the lads from Littlehampton. Played a really good Eastbourne United side. Really good. Talk about that a bit more later. Littlehampton came through with the win. It was fantastic. And then, obviously, last night, we ended up going to the Peter Bentley Cup, which was Arundel versus East Preston in a local derby, bit of a feisty affair. So, that was good. Arundel came away 2-0 winners. But again, we'll go into that a little bit more. But yeah, I've been super busy going through. So yeah.
You have. Grant, am I right in saying you managed to get out on Friday night?
He's got no sound.
It might help if I've turned my mic on.
There he is.
All boy error to start the evening with, no problem. Yeah, I would said first FA Cup tie, I think, in the country, Friday night. Always love a Friday night game under lights. Good old day. I used to love playing in them because it means you got an extra day on the beer, mate. You can go out on a Saturday and recover. But no, I went on Friday, decent crowds. Bumped into Penners there. Lee Penn had a good old chat and a gas up with Lee. He did his obviously video clip. New Haven run out 2-0 winners. And I would probably say on the reflection, that was a fair result. I think Forest Row, I was speaking to one of their committee members and their goalkeeper, who was there last year, Ethan McGrath, the goalkeeper at Burgess Hill, and on pre-season he was at Whitehawk because he knows Jay Lovett. Was supposed to be playing. They put his signing in through to the FA, and someone at the FA was on holiday and didn't put his signing through. So come 5
I did hear about this, yeah.
Yeah, so 5 o'clock in the evening, it's panic stations. They're phoning up their goalkeeper who they've signed, who's at university, used to play for me. I gave him his debut at 16 in the under-23s at East Greenwich, a guy called Ollie Cash. Great goalkeeper, 6'7". I think he was 4 pints deep with his girlfriend on a romantic meal, and he gets a phone call, get your ass down here, you're playing, mate. So he had to leave the food on the table in the restaurant and shoot down a going goal for Forest Row. But it didn't look like he was 4 points in.
My missus would be fucking furious for that. She'd be furious for that.
See, I know Ollie's mum. I saw Ollie's mum on the sideline and his girlfriend was there. And I did ask her about it. And she sort of, I think she'd calmed down by that stage, but she weren't best pleased. Let's put it that way. But anyway, he couldn't have done anything about the goals. 2-0, sort of comfortable routine performance from New Haven. I also bumped in, obviously, it was at Three Bridges ground, so I bumped into Paul Faley, the Three Bridges chairman, had a good chat with him. Mate, the main stand was closed. Him and about 5 volunteers were drilling and bolting new seats into the stand. So obviously they got Dartford the next day, the first game of the season. So even that late at night, at 8, 9 o'clock, the day before the game, they're all there, handful 5, 6, drills, pneumatic drills, drilling in and bolting in new seats, and then half the stand opened, then another bit opened, etc., etc. So, yeah, but that goes to show that the chairman, the committee, all at Bridges, mate, they're working their nuts off to get them ready for that Isthmian Prem, which obviously I'm sure we'll come to later. They lost narrowly 3-2, but saw him there, bumped into Naz as well, Roffey. Manager about their start of the season, so had a good catch up and chat with him. So there was a lot of Sussex faces saw the Crawley down, Gatwick gaffer, didn't seem to speak to, but I saw him from across the pitch. Bumped into Drew Cooney, the old East Grinstead gaffer, obviously who I took over from him. He was there as well watching. So yeah, a lot of faces. Good on a Friday night. Probably 300 people there, so decent crowd. So yeah, it was a great night, great start for the FA Cup. Good start for the weekend.
Sweet.
Nice. Gaz, did you get out anywhere over the weekend, mate?
Not over the weekend. I was with old Mikey boy last night. Well, stay with him. His wife was with him, so he was on a very, very short leash last night. Well behaved.
We did hear about this, didn't we, Mike? What's going on? You got
look, I've had to retire from the game, lads. I've had to retire.
He's hung up his Cruz Campo glass.
I've given up on that Cruz Campo sponsorship now because I've had to say to my wife, look, I'm giving up booze for 30 days. I'm going to mean it. I need to stay hydrated. The Dugout 90, don't I?
What more do you need?
Instead of the yeast. But yeah, so unfortunately, I've retired from the booze game, and that it is what it is. It's a sad day for the McCaffrey family, but health is wealth, as they say. And
it's a sad day for the brewery business, not just only the McCaffrey household, the brewery industry.
I know. I mean, look, I had a fantastic day at Midhurst, and look, there's booze flying, and I'll be honest, I didn't have to put my hand in my pocket on that day. And then the same the next day, Littlehampton, they did the same, and yeah, look, it's one of those ones, isn't it? So, yeah, she escorted me to football last night and allowed me 1 pint, which was very fucking noble of her.
We actually had a pint together.
Yeah, well, but she
even I had a beer at the football last night.
but she was never far away, mate. So I got the old full fat coach in me, and yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm out of the game for another 28 days.
No, fair enough,
Yeah.
mate. So I managed to make it to Lewis versus Enfield on Saturday, where Lewis got battered 4-0.
Yeah,
It was 3-0 by half time.
start, Matty. Did the game reflect that?
Honestly, the first half in particular was really poor, and I think that Greg Nelson, friend of the show, he'd say the same. Right? They weren't doing the basics. They weren't, closing down. They weren't tracking back. They were passing back. They weren't like on the front foot. It felt like the communication was lacking. They weren't, he was shouting instructions and it was just going, unlistened to. Noel Fisher was man of the match for them, and that, like, he was the only player really that felt like anything was going to come off. So, yeah, I think it was a fair game. I think they've drawn 0-0 in the next game. So, obviously they fixed something at the back, but they are, yet to score this season. I think 4-0 to Enfield. They got relegated last season, right? Whereas Lewis narrowly missed out on relegation themselves. So maybe that's sort of to be expected. One team, probably has a lot more resources than the other, but it was two teams that obviously had a point to prove, right? Because they both had poor seasons last time out. But yeah, it was a deserved scoreline, I think it's fair to say.
Can I just, do we know, guys, because there was all those rumours last year, weren't there, about the women's team and taking a lot of the money and there being huge budget constraints and, there's a lot of stuff going on with Lewis. Do we know if that's still the same this season?
I think they take a lot of pride in paying their women like equal pay to the men. So yeah. I don't think that has changed. Whether or not it's still having a bad impact on the finances, who knows? Because the women's team, I think they're like the women's national league, so they actually do all right for themselves as well. They play at a higher level, of the women's game compared to where the men are in the men's.
They were in the Super League, though, weren't they? They have dropped down a little bit.
So
yeah, they had a deal with Lyle and Scott a lot, didn't they? And they were paying the men the same as the women at one time, weren't they?
I think they still are. I think they're quite.
Really?
I think they take a lot of pride in that, and they certainly were last season.
But, the men are getting 500-600 and they're getting 100. It's not, I'm all for equal pay and stuff, but it has to be, you've got to generate the money of you. Yeah, it's got to be sustainable. And I believe they've got, whether that's through sponsorship, as you said, Mike, if they've lost a big sponsorship and, they're not getting the crowds through the door, then fair enough.
But, yeah, it was a good crowd for the men's game on Saturday. I think it was like 927, something like that.
They've always got crowding. It's a great catchment area. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah. 100%. So, yeah, no, I think it's another big season ahead. They recruited well in the summer as well with the likes of Noel Fisher alongside others. So I think once they have a bit of time to gel, and I think they've already proven that in the second game, which we'll come to, where they, shored things up at the back a bit. But yeah, it was definitely first game jitters, maybe. I think you saw a lot of that with a lot of unforced errors and what have you. So
did it look a bit pre-season-y then, Matt, really?
The first half, definitely, right? Yeah. It was 3-0 within 30 minutes, and you're thinking this could be a cricket score here because it was utterly deserved, right? It was, a bit of a shambles at the back. But I think second half, they shored things up a bit, especially the first 10, 15 minutes. Lewis were on top, but they never really troubled the Enfield keeper, to be honest with you. Couple of half chances. But yeah, I would say first half in particular, it was very apparent that it was the first game of the season, right?
Obviously not for Enfield. Enfield went at it flat out, didn't they? Is that because they got experience higher and they started at a higher tempo?
Yeah, I don't know if they're professional or not. They were in the NLS last season, right? They're a big club. But I think that, yeah, they definitely looked fitter than some of the Lewis players. I think it would be fair to say, which again was evidenced by that first half an hour where they just got to everything, right? And they were very attacking focused, I would say, whereas Lewis, on the occasions they did get the ball, I was saying at the time, the person I was with, that it felt like Lewis were doing a lot of work off the ball, and as soon as they got the ball, they panicked. They didn't know what to do with it. They pass it back, they misplace it, and then suddenly they've lost it again, right? So, they tried, they worked hard, but it just wasn't coming together once they were on the ball. And again, maybe that's just first game of the season.
I'm sure they'll be working on that. They're
100%. And again, the next match they've kept a clean sheet. So
they're very well coached teams. Their patterns of play are fantastic. Their rotation's very good.
100%. So
I actually think Enfield are more of a hybrid, so they've got a bit of both.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me, to be fair, because I think they are quite a big outfit. So Let's have a look, see if we can get a score from Lingfield versus Corinthians. I don't know if they're updating.
So for everyone else, we do have two guests coming on today. They'll be on around 9 o'clock. We've got recently departed management duo, Liam Giles and Harrison Williams there. Pretty shocking. It was all bouncing around the internet yesterday. I turned down quite a few media outlets to have a chat with us. Look, nothing's off the table.
1-0 Lingfield.
Yeah,
1-0 up the Lingers.
seconds ago.
One thing I want to say about when we do chat to Liam and Harrison, this show was never created to mug clubs off or use it as a way of spitting their words against the club when they're down, when they can't respond. Okay? What it was done for was to give people an opportunity to speak about what's happened in the fairest way. I have a lot of respect for Horsham YM, but great club. They've really been good to me. I think Steve Ratcliffe, the chairman, is one of the nicest guys in football. And he's always been fantastic to me. And by the way, if Steve is listening, I'm sending my best, pal, okay, to him and his family. But they'll tell their story of why it happened. We'll ask questions, we'll poke about, and we'll see. But it won't be we're going to absolutely destroy Horsham YM because they've left. I won't have that on the show, okay? I just want people to have their own views in there. If you want to ask questions, feel free to get in the comments and ask them, and we'll select them. But yeah, that's where we go. But Liam's been a supporter of this show from day one. He was actually the second person I ever did an interview with, way back there when he's actually just left Loxwood at the time, ironically. So yeah, him and Harrison will tell their side of the story. People can ask questions. We've got questions to ask them, you know, how it went, why it went down, why now. So there, but that'll be about 9 o'clock. But yeah, just wanted to make that clear to everyone.
That's fair, mate. 100%. Yeah, we're
Just
not here
quickly
to
before we move on
on.
away from that. I'm just looking at the Lingfield versus Corinthian. Have you seen the graphics that Corinthian use?
Yes, I love that. The old teletext ones, they're beautiful.
So that's the graphics that Corinthian use for their match day thing.
I remember that. It's the old CFAX. Do you remember that?
I can remember on a Saturday going up the high street, standing outside Curry's and Dixon's, getting the scores off CFAX. All blokes were all stood outside the shop fronts waiting for the scores to come through on CFAX.
Fucking hell, you're showing your age now, Grant, aren't you?
I am, mate, and I'm sure there'll be a few watching that were the same, mate. I'm sure there were. But yeah,
right, should we get in the first part of the show then?
Yeah, let's get into
it. FA Cup, is that right, Matt? Where we are?
Yes, so start by taking a look at the results from the FA Cup. And if we may, on a selfish note, I'd like to start by talking about a team very close to my heart who are not on this screen, but they might be on the other one. There they are at the bottom right there, the mighty Crowborough Athletic. I think it would be fair to say that scoreline's something of an upset. Guernsey away, it's hard to think of a much tougher first, despite the step difference, right? It's hard to think of a tougher place to go for your first game.
Hold up. What is this in the top left-hand corner? We've been infiltrated.
Oh my goodness.
We are one family. We are one family.
Yeah.
I blame Penn. Penn.
There he is.
Penn, he's probably got a secret log in there.
Penn, me and you are going to have talk. I'll keep those shirts to myself.
But yeah, look, Crowborough Athletic going to Guernsey for your first game of the season and coming away with a 5-0 win. I think that's like ridiculously good, right? And from everything I've seen, they were good value for that as well, right? So,
I just think as well though, Guernsey lost only 2 games at home last season, only 2. I spoke to Muggsy as well. in the morning. I had a chat with him. They were there 4 hours before the kickoff.
So they obviously flew in then
Yeah.
on the early morning flight.
They did,
Yeah.
and he had 4 hours, and he was like, "This is not ideal preparation." I said, "Mate, you got to focus on your job, get the players." He said, "That's the plan." So yeah, he understood the challenges of getting a team and Ivers players, getting players there that early is hard work to keep them focused, to keep them mentally switched on, to stop them going on their phones and chatting to whoever and going on X and Instagram and all that lot. But yeah, to win over there, say they lost 2 games at home last year, Guernsey.
I was over there with actually Horsham YM on that day when they actually beat them over there.
Right.
Over there. Yeah, I was over there. But you're right, there isn't much to do. If it weren't for the fact that the bars were open early, it'd been a waste of time. It really would have been. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, let's get back into it.
So yeah, I think of the results on the screen right now, to me, that's one of the standouts for maybe a shock result in terms of the scoreline. Again, I know there's a step difference, but it's a tough place for any team to go. So yeah, big shout out to the Crows. That's fantastic. I think troubles continued for Lancing as well. Another team that we might have to talk about there have not had a particularly great start to life with the old SE Dons coming to town.
Oh yeah, they took over the Culver Road, didn't they?
I was going to say they're a very enthusiastic bunch, the Dons. So you would be forgiven for thinking you'd gone to an away game, yeah.
Yeah, but guys, I think that was their first ever venture into the FA Cup. So the club of
what a debut, eh?
Exactly, for their club of that short history, for them to go down there, home of Sussex football, Lancing, and absolutely give them a pasting, mate. No, fair play to them. And I've seen the VO; it looked like they totally deserved it, and it could have been more.
I think they did 100%.
I also actually think that Littlehampton result against Eastbourne United is massive for Littlehampton. It's
100%. So go on.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. I just think Littlehampton have been in and around that bottom end of step 4 for the last few years. Eastbourne United have been in and around the playoffs and then that sort of thing, and have put together a really good team and actually will probably be up there, and if not win the playoffs, certainly be in the playoffs this year. And for Littlehampton, yes, it was only a 1-0 win. I think it will be a real morale booster based on the fact that Eastbourne do travel fairly well. They've got a strong side. They've got a lot of players that have played that step above, like Seka in there, for example, in goal. He got a bit of a pasting, didn't he, from the Littlehampton fans for his GoPro in the goal.
Well, did you see the guy trying to undo his gloves and stick his finger up his bum and all that?
Yeah. I just think that's a massive result for Littlehampton.
No, you're right, mate. And it's not the flashiest ever, but they've grinded out a really important 1-0 win. It'll be a great confidence booster. Shows what they're about. So yeah, no, I think not every standout result has to be a massive scoreline. 100%.
What was it like at the game?
I mean, one thing I noticed about the Littlehampton game was this: there seems to be a real unity in the squad there. Like, before, during, and certainly after, when they were in the bar, they're all together. There's banter and everything. You can tell. Gaffer's sitting with them. Everyone, the lads. I don't mispronounce his name. Oleg Duncan. Sorry, lad. He scored the goal. It was a lovely goal there. Littlehampton really worked hard. They could have had a couple more. They really could. But I was really impressed with Eastbourne. I think their gaffer got sent off as well, which was quite funny. But where you are with the sportsman, you can actually stand there and overlook the ground. The boy Hull at Eastbourne, he's a tremendous player. He really is.
Mike, I'll just ask, rather than the game, what was the pitch like? Because I know there it can be quite challenging, the surface.
Yeah, it was like yellow. It's like the same way it's been all over.
Yeah.
All over the thing. But for people that are writing Littlehampton off this year, I wouldn't be. I think they've got Dion Jarvis was there, Tees and Sparks there doing bits, Boy Fable, myself, all of them. It's really, really good side there. They get it together. They've definitely got the brotherhood in them. They can kick it on again. You know, I hope they have a really good season. And I really looked after. Always a good crack in the sportsman in there.
Aside
And
from you,
yeah,
750,000 people also know where the bar is at Littlehampton Town now.
well, because I was
you.
in that video with Jensen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Jensen, not Button, for coming through as well. Yeah, good lad. But I think they would do all right. Obviously, Haywards Heath, that was expected, wasn't it, lads?
Well, yeah, it was a bit. I don't really think they got out of first gear, to be honest. No offense to Little Common, but when you look at the starts of the season they've had versus what you expect from Haywards Heath, I think that no one can call that a shock, surely.
No, and the boys and his boys up at Billingshurst, they've had a really tough start, and a baptism of fire. Welcome to step 5. But I really think they'll be all right anyway. I know the CFA Cup, but I think they'll be fine anyway. Those lads.
Well, it's only a couple of years ago. Area from Belvedere was step 4, so I don't think that's too disgraceful.
No, nor do I. Eastbourne Town again. That was probably expected.
Obviously, Varndinians have had a good start to the season, better than expected. But I mean, Eastbourne Town, a team that I'm expecting to have quite a good season, under the radar, I think, for a lot of people. So, 3-1 is definitely nothing to feel too down about. A team that I've been quite hard on so far this season, but credit where credit's due, East Grinstead Town going to Bexhill United, which is not an easy place to go. They've been in great form.
It was at East Grinstead, because obviously Bexhill's ground's not ready. So it was at East
even so.
Even so,
Bexhill, I think, had 2 wins from 2 to start the season. So, and East Grinstead obviously, needed a win. So, rediscover that winning feeling. Fair play to them. Hopefully they kick on from here and can.
I've spoken to a couple of their players, and apparently it was a very comfortable win. Could have been a little bit more, apparently. So very straightforward routine. That's what's needed.
But the other one I was at, I mentioned that now about the Midhurst game. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, it was lovely to see so many youngsters there. They had all like little mascots there from the younger teams. It seems to be Tom seems to be trying to build a real community vibe there at the moment. Lovely little bar. First time I've been down there since my under-23s got battered by them quite a long time ago. But the game itself, it says 2-0 to Eastbourne, but Midhurst and Eastbourne, but it could have been 4-5. They were totally in control. They really were. Goals from the Avenger, Brett Pittman, beastly head at the back there. Fantastic goal. And he is what I say, he will score goals.
Ooh, 2-0.
Good. And he was cool. And the thing that I noticed about him is his absolute professionalism he does bring to the team. He's focused. He's there. He looks moody. When I mean he looks moody, it means because you're in that zone ready to go. He goes and sits and thing, and that. I thought he was really good. The other goal was a tremendous goal from a lad called Cal Kimber. He cut him from the left, rocketed one from the outside of the box, put it in. But for me, the defence, they were unbelievable. You had Whistler out there, Wasma, the boy Pelham, who I gave man of the match to, played right back. I mean, Midhurst are a proper team, mate. They're a proper team. And that lot got a bad lot. But they dominated them. Absolutely never in doubt. So, good luck to them in the next round. I think they got possibly, but and it's nice to meet all the people behind the scenes and that. They really do a good job there. And that is a club that's on the up. But
do you right, just going back to Pittman, what was it like when it didn't go his way?
I didn't see it. Guys. All I saw on that pitch was a leader.
Yeah,
Hey.
no. And I saw that the second half of the game that I was at.
Mm.
But the first half, it didn't quite reach him. There was a lot of like throwing his hands up in the air, slamming the floor. There was a lot of that, but I didn't see it second half when they were playing probably better football, and maybe the frustration was just getting the better of him in the first half. And since then, they've sort of sorted it out. But
I didn't see one thing for me that looked negative about his mannerisms on the pitch or his desire or anything like that. What I saw was someone that the younger players look around to, and they're like,
yeah,
okay, if he's in the zone, we need to get in there as well. So yeah, I saw nothing negative in that way. I can understand what you're saying though. When you played at that level,
yeah.
and if you're not getting the right balls in the right channels or the right direction where you'd expect them to be, it could be frustrating. So I understand what you're saying, but on that day, in that moment, didn't see it, and he will get loads of goals. Yeah.
So you say he's the sort of player that lifts up those around him and can drag the team as a whole to a better result than they might otherwise deserve.
I'm saying that there's been a lot of talk about Pittman pre-season coming in and everything like that. Talk about an investment here and what they've done there. If that's what they've got to do to get someone like that around the team that you can tell is a natural winner that will bring professionalism to the club in that and will get and that's a great investment. You know, that's my opinion.
I don't know if you just saw that comment, Mike. Someone put the Arundel physio said that Pittman's off to Selsey. Could you bring that back up again?
I'm sure that was knocking around last week.
I can't believe that.
Well, I know Charlie, and I know the Arundel.
So do I. I work with the bastard. I've just messaged him.
Bollocks.
Full of shit.
Bollocks.
I think someone's stirring the pot a bit there.
So yeah, but yeah, I know Colin the physio. He's actually a really cool guy, to be fair, but he does love a bit of banter.
So going back to the other results, shout out to Sussex, who caused something of an upset, I think you could say, with their win over Sevenoaks.
Oh no, sorry, mate.
Yeah, so Sussex, Sevenoaks, obviously, it's above Sevenoaks, a pretty respectable club. So very good win for them, I would say. Something of an upset. Then you got Roffey, who have come up against a very informed Whitstable Town, right? They know how to navigate a cup. They won the FA Vase only, 2 seasons ago. Won the league last season, so I think that's a very tough place to go. And 3-1 probably isn't actually, that damning of a result, really. So no chance because of the whole budget. Well, yeah, I'm not sure Pittman's going to move anytime soon. I think the vision for Midhurst is unquestionable, to be honest.
Got more chance of me giving this up than Pittman moving at the moment.
Absolutely.
But
I think Billy hit the nail on the head there, mate. Probably cost more than their whole budget at Chelsea. I'm sure it would.
So sad for Roffey, but also that's a tough old place to go, Whitstable away. So perhaps not too surprising.
Now we know that Pagham forced a replay, didn't they?
They did, and they are through to the next round. I think it's the first time in 6 years that they've made it.
Yeah, I mean we haven't got that there, but. Do you mind if I play this goal that they scored?
Let's do it.
Have we got a contender already?
I'll tell you what, right? Bearing in mind you're going away from home midweek in the cup. Jamie Horncastle. I mean, let's go. Have a look at this. You ready? I'll try it once more, and let's get an idea. I think he's meant that. He's really meant that, and he's chipped the
100%. He's looked up and seen the keeper.
Look once more. Look once more.
He looked up. He saw him.
I don't know what else he could have been doing if not shooting for goal, right? Like
If that was
no
a
one in front
pass,
of him.
it's a shit pass.
Yeah, well, yeah. If it was an attempt at a pass, he's fucked that. But yeah,
But
that's
mate, if you watch
cracking
him as he receives that ball, he actually does look up. You watch him; he 100% meant that. That is class.
And if you ask him, I'm sure he'll tell you he meant it. So you know,
We got another one though, haven't we? We got another one. At Peacehaven. Peacehaven obviously beat YM, didn't they?
Here we go.
They did.
Yeah.
In the cup there, and I want to show that one as well, if that's all right.
Go
Now
for
the
it.
problem is, lads, I don't know who scored it. Was it Cal Edwards?
I think so.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Apologies
tapped
if
him
it
in.
weren't Cal Edwards, but I think it was. All right. So have a little look at this one. He's meant that one, didn't he? 100%. Grant, you're on mute again. Grant, you love being on mute.
I've taken it off. It's not on. Is it on?
Yeah, that's it. You're on.
I didn't press mute, but anyway, I'm saying if you ever look at the goalkeeper, he takes a heavy touch out wide. His angle that he puts it through, so he has the keeper is out of position, but it's a top finish for him to see it. And as you said, he meant that. He had a great first touch, gets the ball out of his feet, has a look up, just clips it straight in the top corner. Brilliant finish.
Yeah, I think that's really not. Yeah, decent there. And again, another one, another FA Cup moment. So get your goals in. If you want to show your goals off, get them in. Shout out to Aaron Miller and who is at Pagham, and shout out to Peacehaven for letting us use those goals. Matt, now where are we going?
Where is
Can we
Liam?
get an
Liam's
update
coming on
from
at
the game?
9 o'clock. Sorry, there's a comment saying, where is Liam? We
Oh
advertised.
yeah, 9 o'clock, lads. 9 o'clock for the interview. I know that's what you're all here for, but we've got to do the other stuff first. Khaled's magic wand, 100%. 100%. It was a cracking goal. I don't know if there's any FA Cup games that we haven't covered there. Let's have a look. See, I think we've spoken about most of
one back in it now.
Ooh.
It's always going to be a tough. It's always going to be a tough one for Seaford going away to Punjab. Roffey, apparently Roffey were quite good down there at Whitstable. Whitstable, a decent team.
Well, they are, mate. Yeah, they're a team in cracking form. So, yeah, we could. So, I don't know if it's on here or not. Crawley down Gatwick, knocked out by Shearwater at home.
That was on the previous page.
Yeah, the previous one. Yeah, a bit of a shock. That obviously, Crawley down Gatwick always have a good cup run, mate. So I was expecting them to do a bit better there, but at home,
they always do better in the Vars, Grant.
Oh, Vars, yeah.
The last couple of years, it's been the Vars where they've had a little bit of a run.
And then we've got Wick, who are quite hot and cold at the moment. I think it's fair to say picked up that impressive win against Midhurst last week, and then obviously taken a loss in the cup there. But you know, maybe focusing on the league for them might be better. But
Camberley, combined counties. Not saying you expect it to be by that margin, but
no, I mean, you know, it's not the worst scoreline ever, is it? But so
Lloyd Osborne said, "Turn a free kick is class." I'm assuming is that the one for Hassocks, the free kick for Hassocks. That was a decent goal as well. I'll see if I can find it.
Get it over to us, Lloyd. We'll have a look.
We're not seeing enough teams upload their VOs, so yeah,
Send
if
them
you want to be
over.
on the show, upload them. Easy as that.
Right. Where we
So
next,
yes,
Matt,
Division 1 in the SCFL has started, and already some interesting results. Already, maybe we're being proved wrong in some areas. Already, Oakwood have beaten Westfield, and I'm starting to wonder if I've really messed up my predictions putting them fourth. Hassocks centre half.
Yeah,
I think we're all uninvited to Oakwood. To be fair.
Yes, well, they've proved us wrong already. I don't know if we've got the results there for Div 1. Knocking about.
Let's have a look. So let's see. I've got the league tables. I've got the table anyway.
Yeah, we can get the table up.
I've got the results here if you want me to read them.
Yeah, get the results up. Yeah, tell us the results, what they were.
I can read them out to you guys, but yeah, results from Div 1 from last Saturday the 8th. Arundel 4, Ringmer 2, Clanfield 1, Saltdean United 3, Deal Square 1, East Preston 0, Hailsham Town 2, Dorking Wanderers B 1, Infinity 1, Mile Oak 0, Jarvis Brook 1, AFC Walcountians 3, Oakwood 2, Westfield 0, Reigate Priory 0, Guildford City 2, Shoreham 1, Selsey 4, and Worthing United 3, Lockswood 1. That's the results. Was cup games on Tuesday. If you want me to just run through the Peter Bentleys, Arundel 2, East Preston 0, Dorking Wanderers B 7, Deal Square 0. Bit of a shocker. Oh, you got them. There you go. Infinity 1, Clanfield 1. Infinity 3, Clanfield 1. Oakwood 0, Guildford City 2, Reigate Priory 2, AFC Walcountians 2, Saltdean 2, Mile Oak 1, and Westfield Ringmer 0-0 with Ringmer winning 11-10 on penalties.
Some shootout.
Well, me and Gaz were at the Arundel game last night.
Yeah.
Fair result?
On balance, yeah, I think so. Second half, Aaron much more up for it.
I saw your comment about the first half, though.
Mate, I wait till you see my match report in the SNLF news next week. It was it's something else. Mike's already read it.
Jimbo crucified me whilst he was in the airport lounge in Turkey today.
Why?
Because I said it was a poor first half from both teams.
Oh yeah, first half. Genuinely, the first half, I couldn't wait for it to end, and then the referee went and played 4 hours of fucking overtime or added additional time. I was like.
But if the game was poor, we've got to call it out and say it as it is. If they're brilliant the next week, we'll say that as well. Chairman and then people can't get the ump if we call out that they've not played well.
I think the officials last night were probably at an average age of about 70.
Oh, they're good lads, though.
They were all really nice, but
yeah, they're good lads.
There was one offside decision. It went against Arundel, actually. And look, I wasn't there supporting either club last night. I was there as an SNLF. He was about 15 yards behind it. The defender shouted for offside, and he gave offside. Now, I was probably in line with not where the offside was, where the official was, and I wasn't 100%. Yeah, so you're right. They did look decent second half, but first half, it was probably one of the worst halves of football I've watched for a long time. But second half, Arundel looked up for it, and they looked like what I would expect them to look like week in, week out when the season gets going.
Well, Matt Storm played right back.
Yeah, Matt Storm played right back. Still managed to get a goal, though, didn't he?
Well, I say on that, though, Gaz, credit to the gaffer, because he's obviously gone in and said the standards aren't what they want, given them a bollocking, told them what he wanted. They've gone out and put his plan together. So when it's like that, I think that's where you got to put credit to the gaffer.
100%. And this is the first time you'd ever hear me say this. The pitch at Arundel looked pretty good last night. It was green.
Wow.
It was green.
Well, that's what happens when you build a pitch on a wetlands.
Yeah.
the one time the pitch looks good in there is in a drought, in a heat wave. So,
but it was a who's who of Sussex County managers last night at Arundel.
I had to leave Sooty and Cuzza. They nearly gave me a breathing problem because I was laughing so much. They were on form.
Gaskin was there.
Gaskin was on form last night. Cy Hull was on form last night.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, good. Go back to the result. I think a couple of shocks there. Deal Square losing 7-0.
They must have had some first teamers knocking about there, surely.
Dorking, that's the thing you do not know whether they can...
I don't know. They normally put the squad up. I'll have a look.
Have a look. Yeah, but if it is, that's a baptism of fire. Welcome to the league. I know they obviously they won their first game 1-0 at East Preston in the league. So from going to winning 1-0 to losing 7-0, bit of a shocker, really. But yeah, Reigate.
Infinity going from strength to strength.
Yeah.
I still say in that. I know that's the cup, but I still say in that league, if anyone finishes above Infinity, they should win it.
Take some doing. I mean, they really had to grind out that result against Mile Oak at the weekend. It wasn't easy, but I think Mile Oak are another team that will be, top half easily sniffing around the playoffs. But yeah, a couple of shock results for me. One of the standout results from the league. Reigate losing 2-0 at home to Guildford City. Obviously, Guildford, a team that maybe didn't know quite so much about, but I was really thinking Reigate were going to be up there, so that surprised me a bit.
If you remember, though, guys, I said we played Guildford City last pre-season when I was at Forest Row in a pre-season friendly. They are a very, very good team. They popped that ball about. We played at home, which was obviously Free Bridges. There were stages when we couldn't get the ball off them, mate. They were that good. So I'm telling you now, they are going to be a decent team in that league, Guildford
A
City.
team to watch for sure.
They definitely
Centre
will.
back and goal against Smile Oak. Well, even more impressive to come out with the win. I think it's fair to say.
Shout out Jody. Shout out Jody.
Doesn't look like Dorking Wanderers had any first team players out.
Wow. Okay. Well, we won't be able to spare the blushes of Dale
Oh,
Square.
well, I spoke to Kev Rayner just before the game, the EP gaffer, and that. And I said, how'd it go with Dale Square? And he said it was a pretty close game, but he thought that potentially they had the better of it. So, yeah, look, until we see them ourselves, because I think everyone wrote them off. And then as soon as we all wrote them off, start getting messages saying, yeah, look, they're going to do well. So, look, it might just be one of those freak results. It does happen. Now,
here's a shock. Not one person from EP spoke to me last night.
they spoke to me, mate.
Yeah, you've not been as critical as I have you?
Again, guys.
Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck.
No, I don't care either, to be fair. Yeah. Just so we're aware, I literally couldn't give a fuck.
Fair play.
Yeah, for someone to look at me, see it was me, then look in a complete opposite direction, you can go fuck yourself.
What's he doing? What are you doing sticking him in goal? He shouldn't be in goal. I haven't sponsored him to go in goal.
And in answer to Brandon's questions, I'm going to keep my mouth. If I talk, I'm in trouble, I will say.
They speak.
I'm in trouble.
So going back to Div 1, let's have a difficult, maybe, conversation about Shoreham, who obviously lost their opening game 1-4 at home to Selsey. Relegated last season, first game of the season. I felt like they'd recruited well. I felt like there was a good buzz around Shoreham. And then after, half an hour, if that, 3-0 down, pull back a goal. We've lost Mike, maybe. That's fine. We'll muddle on. Oh, there he is. We're all good. So, yeah, it's one game in. Are Shoreham in trouble?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I'd seen enough of them pre-season to know. Look, on that day as well, I know they didn't have the gaffer because he had a ban. They had to play their best player. They had no defenders. I don't know why. They were just missing or injured or whatever. They had to play their best player, who I think is Luca. They had to play him at right back, which I even said to the chairman, why do you have to play him right back? Do you know what I mean? In there, because you got to go. But look, they were 3-0 down, in 5-7 minutes, something like that?
And at that point, you've got to be asking, there's people that are going to be thinking, God, not again. Surely not again, right?
I think judge them more after Saturday when they've got a really big local derby, which is in the Vars against Lancing. Lancing travel to Middle Road. There's going to be loads of people there as well, I've heard. It's going to be packed out and that. So if you're at a loose end in those things, come down and see it. Two teams that really have to get a result, So I think we judge them after that now. We can't look into enough at the moment, in my opinion.
I just think as well, though, Mike, you're saying, look, I get they had issues, and I think Billy mentioned it on Sunday in the IBB 10 show, because I was listening to that, and he was right in what he said. If the gaffer knows he's not around, the team should still play without him. They should still be up for it, and he should still be able to motivate him. If you know you've got players missing for the first few games of the season, you recruit others in. You can't start a season going, he's on holiday, he's injured, he's on holiday, he's unavailable, he's at a wedding, he's doing this, he's whatever, he's gone to Turkey for a hair transplant. All that should be dealt with by the manager. So the start of the season comes in and you've got 15, 16 players out of your squad that are there to fight for the club on a Saturday. To have an excuse going, we had them missing that. All the other teams in the leagues ain't done that. So I hear what you're saying though, Mike. But if it is, if that, it's still poor preparation for me. If that was me as a gaffer in that league, I would have made sure I've got players in to cover that. And then if the other players that have gone away ain't back and they're not performing, then they've got to wait on the bench for their turn in the squad. So
no, I get that. I get that. I think we'll revisit that one next week.
Yeah,
after that. But you know, you're entitled to ask that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I'm going to say I'm concerned for them. Look, I've known of Connor. I've been in the other dugout of him. Look, he's a nice lad. You know, my question is, does he know players of experience of a higher level that he can pull in to get them in and get them to play for the club? That's my concern. Can he pull players from a higher league in to help them out when they're in the shit? And looks like they are after 1 week. Look, Mike, let's review it in a month and see where we're at. And I think that's fair enough.
Well, looking from the numbers that are already on this stream at the moment, when we'll be getting in Mr. Giles and Harrison in about 8 minutes' time. They are here. They're here. They're in the green room. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs at the moment. But we told everyone 9 o'clock. There's a lot of you that obviously want to hear that. So if you've got any questions on that, start thinking about where you're going to go. And if it's decent enough, we'll get them on, because we got a lot of questions ourselves. Right, just quickly before we go in there, Matt, I need to take a break, mate. I need to take a little one of those hydrations.
Dugout 90. Buy a can. Support your club.
That's it, lads. Dugout 90. It drops in 5 days. 5 days. Everything's all sorted. So the clubs down the bottom. Look at those wonderful clubs down the bottom. They're taking up the initiative, where they're buying in the cases there. We sell it at no profit. We sell it at cost. For us, it is a marketing tool. There it is, Dugout 90. Bang, bang, bang. So on the back, you've got all the QR codes for all of your favourite non-league podcasts. And one thing I want to say as well, I want to thank everyone out there who downloaded or was a contributor to the Dugout News issue 1 that we've done, including yourself, Matt. Including yourself. You didn't make the first issue, Grant, unfortunately, mate, did you? Unbelievable.
Wasn't asked.
Over 500 people downloaded it. That, for me, is incredible. It really, really is. You know, we had 12 contributors in there. We had all the tables. We had all different articles from chairmen, from former managers, players, and we're going to do it. It's going to be a weekly thing. But as of today, we hit the 500 mark. Thank you to everyone who is out there. It really, it's really impressed me. Anyone that did it and has read it, we're going to keep it going. Again, it's something that you don't have to pay for. All you do is go on dugoutdatahub.com, go on there, and you'll be able to download it free straight away. So that's it in the comments. Go on there, dugoutdatahub.com, and check it out. It's live there. And also on dugoutdatahub.com is all the updated autonomously, the league tables, the fixtures. You can compare up to 20 different graphs. You can compare team against team. And every week, with the more stats that we get in and the data, you'll look at your PDF packs free of charge that you'll be able to add. Go check that out, dugoutdata.com. So,
yes, so we've got 5 minutes before we're joined by our special guest. Just want to give a quick shout out to Hailsham Town with their 2-1 win over Dorking Wanderers B. They were 1-0 down at half-time, showed real character in their first game back at the level against what we are now wondering are maybe a really scary Dorking Wanderers B side based on their cup performance. So to come out of that and score 2 in the second half and win it, big shout out to Callum. I was speaking to him before the match. They had a tough pre-season with a few injuries, difficulty finding a place to play. And I think they got a really good attendance, over 200.
51, I think. Someone commented it. I'm just trying to find it.
Ryan Harmon. That's Ryan Harmon.
I thought it was Ryan. I just couldn't see it.
What a performance for those fans. So I'm really impressed by that result. They're a team that I had as my dark horse in the league, and to come back from behind as well, right? Showing real character. Shout out to Callum and the lads. Amazing result.
And just quickly, one thing we didn't mention, because obviously we're going to go into the Isthmian after we spoke to the lads that are coming on. What a win for Worthing up there.
I was just about to mention that.
Carlisle, what a
Carlisle,
win.
who are tipped to win the league as well. There are a lot of people's favourites to win that league.
I was a big fan of their post on social media, Little Old Worthing. I think that sums it up, really. Little Old Worthing. And again, they get pegged back. It was quite late on, I think, when they scored the winner, wasn't it, right? So
They went 3-1 up. They actually went 3-1 up. So it was 3-2. Massive result. But it doesn't stop there. Forest Green at home this Saturday is another massive game.
What's his name still in charge of that? Is it Savage?
Yeah, he signed about 80 players this window, I think, old Savage.
He's going to get an absolute pace. He got a pasting last time, didn't he? And it made all the press, didn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see the Worthing youth, if you like, giving him anything but grief for the whole. I'm going to say 2 hours because that's how long he'll be out there for. So
going back to the Worthing though, guys, I just want to mention. Do you see how many they took away from home?
Yeah,
269, I think, went up there from Worthing. How long's that on a coach? That's got to be 8-9 hours on a coach.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way would I be sitting on a coach for that long.
It's got to be around about that.
Mate, if you had 2 cases of Cruzy Campo, you'd definitely be sat on a coach for that long.
As long as you've got a toilet, mate, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has.
I was actually had a few of them. So I did a little live stream on Saturday morning while I was at my event, which we won't go into because it was a disaster. While I was at my event, I did a bit of little live stream. I chatted to a few of the Worthing guys that were on their way up to Carlisle while I was doing it. Also had, we'll know him on social media as Retired Nigel.
Yeah.
He come on the live stream. I was chatting with him. He went, I'm in Shaw. I went, I'll come down for a coffee. So he come down for a coffee. Nice coffee with him.
Good guy.
Yeah. I tried to give it him on the house, but he was insisted on he pay. So thank you very much for that, because that was about 10% of what I took on Saturday, because it was not particularly great. Left me about 70 quid in the hole, I think. 80 quid in the hole.
Got to speculate to accumulate, Gaz.
Yeah, well, I didn't speculate enough to go back for the second day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
Go on, are we ready, are we?
Well, we're going to have to be.
Cheers, Lee.
One of the guys has left the green room.
Oh, he's gone for a wee, has he?
No.
He's got bored.
Giles has left. He hasn't bottled it, has he?
You better message him.
I can see Harrison's in there. Right, first and foremost, whilst Liam's he's just sorting out his camera, I want to welcome to the show. Power Mine, great guy, fantastic coach, Harrison Williams. Harrison.
Evening, boys. How are you?
How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, thank you. All good.
We're just waiting for your partner in crime. He ain't done a bunk, has he?
He might have done. You know what I mean?
You do it on your own.
Bark might be worse than his bite after all. We didn't find out, wouldn't we, I suppose?
So obviously everyone knows that we'll obviously wait for him to get on, but everyone knows that shockingly you and Liam, and from what I hear, quite a lot of players have left Horsham Wyham. Okay, as I said before at the start of this show, I didn't want this to be excuse my language, a cunting off of a team. No, it's my show. I don't care if I get done. It's mine.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, listen. I wanted to hear your side of the story. I had a lot of respect for Steve Ratcliffe, fantastic guy, chairman there. But we had to hear your story. Now, where is he? Is he coming on or not? Or has he gone cold? He's got. Find out what he's doing. But Harrison, let's start with you, mate. And whilst we're waiting for your the man with no hair. Did this come as a shock?
Look, I can imagine. I can see why to many people it comes as a shock. I think obviously after the highs of last year, it was possibly a big decision as to whether or not we went again. I think we always knew it was going to be hard to retain the whole group. Although we did a pretty good job of retaining the majority of them boys. I think, like anything, there's when you're winning and things are going really well, which they were, it can paper over a lot of the cracks of other things behind the scenes. And I think maybe, look, it's probably more Giles' place to say, but
It's going to be 2 minutes, by the way, mate. It's going to be 2 minutes.
That's all right. Some of those frustrations probably became even more prominent with Steve, unfortunately, not being around. I know that he obviously had a really, really good relationship with Liam. Was probably the main advocate alongside a couple of others on the committee in terms of really supporting and driving the football side of things. And I think with him not being around, it started to feel maybe a little bit lonely in the sense of not getting the support that maybe you hoped for. And look, to be fair to Liam, we all know that he's an intense guy, right? And he cares passionately about what he does, which is why I enjoy working with him. And we balance each other off quite well. I'm a little bit more laid back than he is, and maybe don't get as wound up by certain things. But that guy does so much, and I think, like I said, it's quite easy to drive back from Wick on a Tuesday night after you've won 2-1 in the last minute, and you're dropping the kit off back at the club at 12:10 on a Tuesday night before going home to your family that Liam's got, and picking it up at 3:00 in the afternoon, and things people do all round football clubs up and down the country. So there's not nothing special about the effort. I just think it became quite tiring. And fundamentally, we wanted more than anyone to have another go. I think that's why we stuck around and wanted to give it a go. But that started to dwindle a little bit, and I think it just got to a point where it was obvious that what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and thinking you're going to get different results, and I think that become a little bit obvious.
Well, first and foremost, before I'll greet Liam, who's looking for a very shiny head there. Liam, how you doing, mate? You good? He's not even there, is he?
Smile.
I honestly think this might be the first time he's used a computer.
Possibly.
I'm just glad he's put a t-shirt on instead of his Georgie Best that he normally sends me photos of.
The last time he was on, genuinely, I think he's had one of the worst signal of any guest we've ever had on the show.
Well, he's probably nicking the Wi-Fi from next door, isn't he?
Harrison, can you do us a favour for the people? Just watch Liam works out how to turn on a laptop or actually turn, do his stuff there. Can you just tell us a bit about where you've been previously together?
Oh, yeah. More clubs than Tiger Woods, I think.
Because you've had... it's not like it's just this year and last year you were together. You've been at each other's side for a long time.
Yeah. So I first sort of met Liam when I was manager at Red Hill and he was at Croydon. And I sort of got to play each other in, I think, the Surrey Cup. And we got on all right, found out that we lived at the time like literally 200 yards from each other in Tollgate Hill. That we didn't know that. So I went from I think I was in Red Hill 2019, 2020. I think I become manager there. Did about 18 months, 2 years. Went to South Park. Sort of went to Bedfont Sports at the time at Step 4. Experienced my first sacking, which weren't to be the last. And then to be fair, I went to Egham Town and me and my wife relocated to Spain for about 9-12 months. So I had to step away from the game for a little bit. And then that's when we sort of got into Sussex football, really, because a friend of a friend recommended me to Mark Lacey at Loxwood. Went in there. I was sort of in the process of moving back from Spain, so I was frantically trying to find someone to help me. And Liam had just left Croydon, and that's where we that's where we sort of first started working together at the start of a couple of years ago. And yeah, obviously he got the YM job, and I shortly after he got that followed him there.
Okay, it's just he's cloning himself now. Look, what's going on here?
Oh, he's there twice.
Don't. I'm having a nightmare.
Liam, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
At the moment, mate, you're in the Matrix. You keep cloning yourself, sending yourself in. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Right, finally, we got the dynamic duo in. Yesterday, internet blew up. You two left literally the night before, late the night before. I'm hearing you had a meeting with the committee or part of the committee. Didn't go to plan. It was your decision. First and foremost, can we just state, was it your decision or was it the club's?
Yeah, no, it was our decision.
Okay, so we know that. All right. Now we want to get into the meat and potatoes of everything. And as I said, and I spoke to you earlier as well, Liam, you know, power of mind, okay? I want this to be not a end of YM type thing, you know what I mean? I want this to be about what happened, get your side off and go from there, okay? So, let's get into it. Poor start to the season, okay? Lost some key players like Noel Fisher, people like that, after an absolutely incredible season last year, one of the highest that YM have had in about 10 years at least, something like that. What went wrong? Why did you leave? And what were the factors? They're the kind of things I want to establish first.
Ready to go?
I'm ready, mate. I'm ready.
Yeah. So firstly, if we address the start of the season, obviously we played 2 league games, 1 game in the FA Cup. By our standards, as staff, by our standards as a team, as a club, you'd look at the 2 league games and expect us to win them games, right? If you look at last season, based on form, based on squads, even. First game of the season, we wasn't at our best. It was trying to, just something didn't quite work. I've openly said it to my group, my staff, my players, that I think I got it wrong that day. Trying to accommodate.
This is Vardinians, yeah?
Yeah. The Vardinians game, tried to accommodate too many players that didn't fit our identity. And look, ultimately, I still don't think if the goalkeeper, doesn't make the 2 mistakes that he made, I don't think we lose the game. Got back in 2-2, total control, and a goalkeeping error ultimately gave them the win. That being said, still wasn't ultimately happy with our performance, but we would have got through it, 3 points, and dust ourselves down. The Billingshurst game, again, 1-0 up, total control. Get a sending off, which just turned the game, and we was banked for a little bit. Last 20 minutes, banked up, defending, crosses, pressure. They put us right under the cosh, and a deflected goal. Ultimately, they equalised, and we dropped 2 points there. And looking at the Peacehaven game, ultimately, I think that we still expected ourselves to give it a go. We expect to win the game, because that's just the type of mentality we have as a group. And it was a really evenly contested game, and one at half time, come out second half, and to suffer another goal, which not trying to dig him out here, but another goalkeeping error, effectively, or goalkeeper should have done a lot better, cost us the game. So, it's fine margins.
Sorry, mate. Don't fan there. Sorry, mate. Movement. Yeah, I have heard you say that. To be fair, I've heard you said that there was a couple of goalkeeping errors in there. Look, when you play against Peacehaven, a good side. Do you know that? In there, you were expected to win that. How would we say? You were expected to win the Vardinians game, yeah, 100%. But why now? But why today?
Ultimately, I think if we rewind to the end of last season, it's well documented. There was a lot of rumours, and I think you spoke about it on the IBB10 loads, that people were, saying that I was a shoe-in for Hastings and I was on the move and I wouldn't be at YM next year. And I think I myself, deep down, felt like I couldn't do another season at YM. Now, not throwing stones, but it is a very difficult job in terms of my role was also head of football. So any footballing decision down to 18s, 23s, first team, training venues, kits, getting, without me doing that, it doesn't get done.
So what are you saying? You had to act as the kit man as well as the gaffer.
Mate, I think I probably had about 10 hats on, if I'm being totally honest. Yeah, look, it's a lot, right? And I'm sure I'm not the only person in non-league management that has to cover multiple roles. However, the onus on me to get sponsorship in for new tracksuits, for kit, for training kit, for anything we need, is a lot. It come to a point where I felt like I was having to do far too much, and I wasn't allowed to just concentrate on the first team and what we were doing. So I had a long chat in the summer. Obviously, the Hastings thing never come about. I spoke with the chairman about whether I was going to continue this year. I was pretty much all checked out. We had a really good chat, and Steve Ratcliffe, it's well documented, has become a really good friend of mine. He's an absolute wonderful man. He's so supportive. He was one of the key factors in why we stayed, and key factors to why I was at the club in the first place. He was great advocate for me to come in and trusted me to come and do what we did, essentially, right? And we had a long chat. I told them the things that we needed as staff and as a team to remain at the club. All things that he said the club would be able to match. And in turn, we got into pre-season, wasn't happening. Got into the start of the season. Steve, unfortunately, is not very well at the moment, so he's not been around at the football club. And we felt that massively, because ultimately he was our biggest supporter. And without him there, was really difficult. The things that I'd asked for hadn't been done. The agreements that myself and Steve made wasn't apparently able to be fulfilled, shall we say? And we had
Are
a
you
conversation.
talking budgets?
Yeah, budget's one of them. Budget is one of them.
All right.
Budget is one of them. Again, people can say what they like, but the budget we are expected to do that job on is probably, if you're looking in tables, probably 11th, 12th. And that's me being genuinely honest. I wanted a budget that was more like top 6, which we thought would be achievable. But yeah, look, it wasn't. And ultimately, I had a conversation with Steve last week, and he openly said to me, Liam, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, he said, "You're too good for this football club. We can't support you. And, I think perhaps it's time you don't waste any more time on us."
Do
that
you
was that.
feel though, Liam, at this stage where you've had and I'm your mate. You know that. You've been there. You supported my brand from day one. There'll be people out there that say he had a shit game against Vardinians. They're out the cup. I believe the next game you would have played. Did you the next game you'd have played would have been against your old club, Epsom Ewell. Is that cool? Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
People would be out there saying, "Has he bottled it?"
Mike, you know me very well. The
I
man
do.
I am,
Yeah.
and the person I am. I don't bottle things, mate. You
No.
know, I'm not. That's not within my DNA. The reality is I've got morals, and I couldn't look my players at the end of the month in the eye and say, "I'm sorry, the agreement we had, we can no longer fulfil." I would rather have nipped it in the bud now. That being said, again, it wasn't just the money. I'm not here to throw stones at YM, but
Well, I heard you did have match balls. I heard there's stuff like that. I've heard a few. I've heard a few things. I've also heard that maybe there's a couple of people that maybe behind the scenes, and we're not talking the chairman, that maybe didn't have your back as much.
well, yeah. Look, I think and actually, fair play to Dean Carden, the man that I came in after. He warned us about some of the battles he faced, and you know, unfortunately, listen, I don't want to throw no stones at the end of the day. Like I want to be able to. I had a good 20 months there, and look, I believe I'm a club builder. I believe that I'm a business owner. I can build things, and I was trying to pull them in the right direction to become a bigger football club. A comment that was made on Monday night was that I work at too fast a pace; they can't keep up. That I have a unique skill set that none of them can match, and obviously right now our ambitions don't align. So
Can I just jump in there because for people that what you're trying to say there is what you and Harrison and when you had your other staff behind the scenes. I spent 2 days with you, didn't I? Away
yeah,
in Guernsey, and I saw the professionalism, the detail, the analysis, everything that went into that Horsham side, Horsham YM side. I saw it. You actually were one of the only two teams to actually beat Guernsey away when I was there with you. It was incredible. It was higher than this step. It was like what looking at a step three preparation. It really, really was the stuff you went into it. So is that really a way of saying maybe have you outgrown this step? Do you think?
listen, I'm not going to sit here and sing, blow my own trumpet, whatever the expression is, but I think what we are looking at now as a management staff, obviously H is incredible at what he does. He leads all the coaching side of things, sets up, our match preparation, all our fine details. And look, I think that for us, for me, the way I look at it now in my head is that to continue at step 5, it has to be for the right club with maximum ambition, with wanting to climb the ladder, climb the pyramid, because I do feel like I do look at the steps above and players that work with us. Jordan Maguire-Drew being one of them said to me today, "Gaff, hurry up and get a job because I don't want to take any of these phone calls." Like, he's just come down through the Football League and said how much he enjoys working under us and the level of detail and professionalism and quality. Look, we do the most, mate, and ultimately, I think for me, I think a change of level is probably needed. However, some might say, well, you haven't mastered your trade, you haven't got out of step 5. But I do believe that if we had some of the budgets other teams had, I'd like to think that would be a no-brainer. And not throwing stones, but if I had a certain amount of money, I would expect us to go up. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. Why am I wasting my time? It's not a hobby for me. I give up a lot of time. I've got a young family, a business, and for me, it's about trying to get as high as I possibly can in the pyramid. And it's not a joke. So it got to a point at YM where I felt like that's where it had become. We couldn't go no further. We'd reached our ceiling. Perhaps we overachieved far too much last year. And one thing I will say is it's probably quite lucky we didn't get promoted, because I think the club would be in a very bad place right now, being at step 4 without us there.
I agree. I actually agree with that. And we've talked about this extensively over the last couple of weeks. I was actually one of them that said, was it wise to go again? And I knew you had the loyalty to your players to do that, and they're loyal to you. Well, you can tell that at the moment what's happened. I'm going to pass you over to the other lads. I know what you bring to the table. You bring absolute professionalism, desire, and you act as a bit like a father to those players. You look after them outside as well, whether they're struggling, whether they got issues in their personal life. I've seen you do that. It's a lot to take on as a gaffer. I think what you did at Horsham, you did extremely well. For what the resources you were on, I thought you overachieved there. I think the one blip on it was the playoff game. You know that, and I think you know that too. But I'm going to pass you over to the lads. You know I've got you. You know I love you as a man, and I want to see you back in that dugout soon, especially with this guy, because he is one hell of a wonderful mind when it comes to football. So I'm going to do no more talking. I'm going to let those lads go on, but I'm always here for you lads. All right.
Appreciate it, mate.
Who's going? Grant?
Yeah, I'll jump in then, guys. Yeah. Obviously, Liam, I've managed at the level as well. Step 5. I was at Forest Row last year, seeing you guys go, and obviously I've left and went on to East Grinstead. So, bit for me is like Heinz. Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you not hear me, Liam? Oh, can you hear me now?
What's he done?
Everyone else can. Have you clicked mute?
No, he's not on mute.
Harrison, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate.
Shall I ask
We do
Harrison
sign
then rather
language.
than Liam? He only wanted to speak to you, Mike. That was it, mate.
He knew I'd poke him and all.
Shall I just carry on then, mate? And
Yeah,
you can
crack
answer.
on.
Yeah, look, as I was just saying, look, hindsight and regret are huge learning curves in football. I've been through sort of both in my career, that as a player and as a manager. So I say, what's your biggest regret, and what in hindsight would you do differently with your time at YM?
I think that's probably, it's quite a difficult one. I think obviously regret is probably a combination of, obviously we'll always feel a bit of what if about not getting over the line. And look, it's really difficult flying over to Guernsey in a playoff game. Magnitude of things. We lost 3 out of our last 6, so we probably had started to maybe tire off a little bit. We'd put so much into it and sort of stumbled over the line, and actually we're 1 point away from getting a home tie. And I think if we get Guernsey at home, we win the game. People probably weren't able to watch it unless you're from the island of Guernsey, but we hit the post, missed a cutback from 6 yards. Centre forward went round the goalkeeper and had it cleared off the line all inside the first half an hour, which was very similar to the first game. Difference being we went outside. I think we went 2-0 up, then 2-1 up, then 3-1 up. So, and then you go find yourself 1-0 down before half time. So maybe it wasn't meant to be. So I think that's a regret, not getting over the line. And I think, look, I think if we're all honest, we probably should have, maybe listened to our heads a little bit more and walked away in the summer. When you've got, I think this is for context, when you've got a group of lads where, the ones that stuck around, the ones that moved on and where they're playing now, even down to the boys on loan from Bromley that are now in at Hastings at step 4, Noel obviously at step 3, and as an individual, one of the best individuals I've worked with, as much as he can be frustrating at times, and a brilliant lad. To go and get the opportunities that he's got, and then the boys that have, I've spoken to a lot of players in the last 48 hours, and the offers are coming from step 4, step 3 football clubs, and a lot of those boys, when we break it down, there was very few with big reputations and big egos, and were maybe cast aside by others, or unproven at the level, and chucked together as a group. It was quite special, and I think maybe if it's a regret, should we have walked away in the summer and allowed those boys to have a proper pre-season elsewhere? Because we do. Mike, you said about how Liam cares about the players. I'm very much the same, and I think part of those players and the fact that the group wanted to stick together was maybe why we felt we could go again off the back of the conversations that Liam had with the club. So they're probably the two things. And I think the Guernsey thing you can break down to, look, we fell 1 point short of a home tie over 38 games. And I can think of plenty that where we shouldn't have done that. I think Bexhill in November, October's my favourite. Noel Fisher's first game, he went round the goalkeeper twice and fell over. And we conceded in the last minute. Things like that where you go, one extra point, you get them at home. We had a pretty good home record. We were the worst type of tie for them, to be fair. I don't think they wanted to play us. I don't think anyone wanted to play us in the playoffs. A combination of all those things. But also, and you know what? Probably the biggest regret I've got now, because I've been there in the past when I was at Red Hill and built teams, is sometimes in non-league management, you don't get the credit for what you do, because quite often players are there for you. I fear now for the football club, because that could be a brilliant football club. The foundations have been laid for someone to pick that up and go again. Or, if we had moved on to a higher level or a bigger opportunity, for example, and gone with, in not such a shock, then that club might have been picked up and progressed and gone again.
I agree, though, Harrison. I just want to say, I've been around it myself. Players play for managers before they play for clubs. You go to a new club, you're going to be able to phone 10 of them players up and they'll jump ship and come and play for you.
To be fair, though, Grant, let's get it straight. If a club gets everything right, that isn't always the case.
Not always, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Fair point.
And Liam harps on about culture and standards, and he'd make me want to jump off a cliff sometimes when he's banging on about it too much. But or to the intensity that he does. But at the same time, you make a football club really welcoming and players want to play there. As long as you appoint the right manager, they'll probably give it a chance. I have taken over football clubs myself where not one player walks out the door, for example, or one walks out the door and goes to a higher level, and that might be more about what the football club's offering those players, whether that's financially, whether that's just from, let's get it straight. People talk about players moving for a tenner or 20 quid. Do you know what? If they get a decent training kit, they get a decent tracksuit, they're looked after, they feel welcome, their families feel welcome, there's a smile when they arrive, the committee are as quick to clap you after you win a game as they are to if you get beat, right? And you feel supported. Our season didn't go by without incidents last year, and some major ones, unfortunately. But again, players would find loyalty if they feel supported in those times. So, yes, I agree that let's get it straight. 9 of our players live in and around Crawley or Horsham. I think it is. So he's still well over half the squad, and I'm probably underselling it then. But at least 9 that start regularly are local boys. So if the club's that good, why have they got to go elsewhere? Why have they got to go and disperse? If it's not all about the management team. It's a lovely compliment that we do that, but actually, do you know what? If things are right behind the scenes and the right foundations are in place and that other side of it, then maybe they're not all so quick to jump ship. So I think that tells its own story as well, because not every single one of those players has played for us over the last 7, 8, 9 years or something like that. Some of them have known us 3 weeks, 6 months, 18 months. Probably didn't even know who we were until we got on the phone and tried to get them into the football club. So, it's a nice compliment that they're all moving on and they want to stay loyal, but I think it also tells its own story.
Are you hearing us now, Liam? Obviously not. He's frozen again or something. I just got one more question. I'll let the others jump in. Look, It's just about you coming in there, Harrison, right? I'll just go through the league. 2020, 21, 19th. 21 season, 13th. 22 season, 12th. 14th, 12th before you went in. So that's 5 years. The highest position was 12th, yeah? Just so you can give the YM supporters a bit of clarity. and details, how and why did you choose YM when they'd been lower to mid-table all that time? What made you and Liam go there in the first place? Because I'm sure the supporters want to know that.
I think Liam had some really good. I joined shortly after Liam. Liam, you know, I think I went. Well, I was at Lancing with Sam Morgan for a brief spell until Bully took over. And I think, you know, my wife's probably listening, so she'll shoot me for this. But we had 3 Saturdays off, and I spent all 3 in Next or B&M. And I was like, I ain't fucking doing this any longer. And I'll give Giles a call and said, let's make it happen. So, but I think, look, without speaking for Liam, he had a couple of really good meetings with Steve Ratcliffe, who was taking over as chairman. Obviously, living in Horsham, Crawley, like he has done for the last few years, and like we both are, we were keen to have a proper shot at Sussex, and maybe we didn't feel like Loxwood was the right place to do that. Obviously, it was very local for both of us. We literally Liam lives 5 minutes from the ground. I live 10, 15-minute drive from the ground. And I think we saw the potential. You know, it's got a facility. It's got, you know, its own ground. It's, you know, it's now possibly, arguably, or should be the second biggest club in Horsham, and there's a big difference between Step 2 football and Step 5. So, you know, there's a great opportunity to pick up supporters of both clubs, if you know what I mean, and people that don't go to Horsham because they're playing Truro away or Yeovil away on a Tuesday night might well get down and watch us. I think there was lots to be excited about, and I think we all saw the potential there, and ultimately the potential is still there. So I don't. I think we don't regret that decision whatsoever. And
at the time, right thing, and it is a bit of a sleeping giant, isn't it? Without a doubt, like you said, you know, you start winning games and get success, and people come through the door. So look, I'll shut up after the question. The other guys can have a go. But Harrison, thanks for coming on, mate. I wish you all the best. Done a great job there, and I'll be looking forward to seeing where you pop up next, you guys.
You've only just started talking, haven't you, Grant?
I have, mate. Yeah, I've been sat here dumb for 20. Mate, what is going on with your internet, Giles?
Mate, you know what? I was on my phone, right? But when I tell you, it is burning hot. I think it might be broke from the last 24 hours. Honestly, so I've had to get on the laptop.
Giles, I genuinely think you're...
Anyway, so I'll shut up now. Let the other guys jump in. But thanks for answering my questions, Liam. Cheers, mate.
Giles, I genuinely think you're probably the guest with the worst internet we've ever had on this show.
And ironically, there's over 3,000 people watching you now.
Yeah.
Do you know why? The money went all into the budget, Gareth. So,
look, I haven't got a lot because I haven't had a chance to fully read all the statements and stuff that have come out. But look, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Now, I think Giles is just shit with technology.
That's Poe, isn't it? Shout out, Poe.
I get from this that Horsham, the YM are in a better position than when you guys went in there. What do they need to do now to stay in that better position? Because there's a lot of people out there I think are going to be... I'd be one of them, think at a YM going to go back sort of 2 or 3 years now, 2 or 3 seasons and sit where they were. Now, I predicted you guys to finish second this year and you've gone and fucked it for me.
Still might, mate.
Still might.
They might. What do they need to do now, like to stay in that sort of level?
To be honest, I think it's going to be incredibly tough. I don't know where I was at because my internet connection was going crazy, but Steve Ratcliffe and Anne Commins have resigned off the committee. Steve Ratcliffe being the chairman, and you know that is huge. And I'll be honest, I said to him in the summer, because obviously with his health issues, one of the questions I asked is, does he feel that he's going to be able to continue? Because without him, I wouldn't want to be there. And again, I think they're in serious trouble. I think, you know, I saw a comment come up from Dean just now. The big problem is that right now on the committee, there is no football brain, essentially. Now, I don't mean that in a rude way. Like I say, I controlled every football aspect at that club. So I think going forward, they will need to bring somebody in, not just on the field, but off the field, because obviously they're trying to get their 3G pitch. That's taking priority for funding. And yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't like to say it, but I think it could be a really, really tough year. Whoever goes in there are going to face the same battles I've faced, same battles that Dean faced. And I think without having the likes of Steve and Anne around, who are the people that were doing the things to help drive the club forward, along with myself and my staff and Paul Oliver as well, obviously we done so much. Even to the point of fan base, myself and Steve were going into the local schools to try and get YM visible in the community and, setting up partnerships with the local schools. The minute Steve wasn't there, and I said I was leaving Steve with that one, no one else took that on. So the bar's not open until 2 p.m. on a match day in the FA Cup. And unfortunately, they need a real wake-up call. And look, that was what we were saying on Monday night in our meeting, that unfortunately there needs to be change. And if there's not change, I can see them going downhill very, very quickly.
I got one question over on Instagram. What's next for you guys?
Yeah, I was going to ask that as well. We want to know.
Well, look, we didn't want to. Believe me, even with all the issues, and Harrison would tell you, I've not been myself the last month. The energy. I think the players have felt it. The staff have felt it. I'll be honest. I arrived at Billingshurst and I said to the guys, I don't even know if I want to be here. And it was really finding it hard to get through. But that was only down to all the politics and all the stuff that I had to do off the field, and to keep driving that. So for me, I think me and H spoke. We want to stick together. We've still got our whole coaching staff and playing squad ready to go.
But with that as well, though, Liam, from my experience, mate, if you're not feeling it, I'm telling you now, the players pick up on that. You can think they don't, but subconsciously, they'll be feeling your energy. If they feed off it every game, like I can tell, Liam, you're on a high energy, high enthusiastic, bubbly guy. If you're a little bit flat, the players will go, "Well, fuck me, what's up with the gaffer today?" Do you know what I mean? And sometimes that affects it, and I'm not saying that's what the problem was. I'm not, but you know what players are like, mate. They pick up on everything, mate, don't they?
Yeah,
so, mate, I get that. You doing everything, mate. That's don't happen at many clubs. There should be people behind you having your back on that committee going, I'll run with that, I'll take that over, I'll run with that, I'll run with that. Look, I've picked up kits, I've swept changing rooms, I've cleaned out fucking bins around the grounds and all. We all do certain bits like that, but you've got to have help and support. If the club have got ambitions to kick on and, like, as you get promoted, look, we nearly got there to step 4. I think you're right in hindsight. If they got to step 4 and they're in step 4 now, they would be struggling big time, I think.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And you're right. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that wasn't part of the problem. It probably was. So we've spoke about it, and what I've said to H is, for me, it has to try and be a step up now. I feel like the professionalism, and to get myself up for it, I don't know whether I could do another club like a YM. If it's at step 5, look, I'm not, there's plenty of clubs that are run the right way, that have got, proper resources, that actually, you're not begging Peter to pay Paul, and I feel that we deserve an opportunity. I feel that, the length of, like I say, that the detail and the amount we put in, the network, Bromley being one of them, sending us multiple loanees, Aldershot. Toby Nelson popped up in the comments I saw. He came to us start of last season on a 28th day and got recalled and ended up playing National League last year. So yeah, I think I've come to a point where I know my worth. I know the management team's worth. And look, I'm not just going to do it just for the sake of it. So if there's any people that are looking for change and, they've got ambitions and are aspiring to, do things the right way and grow,
that's something that we'll be interested in.
You know as well, mate. Look, there'll be teams at step 4 that've got ambitions to do well this year. That come end of September, October, they're down at the bottom of the league. There'll be managers that are being gone at step 4. You know that for a fact. So be patient. Wait a couple of months. The phone will be ringing at step 4 when those bottom half of those league clubs are looking to make changes within their clubs because they've not hit their ambitions.
That could be the worst thing if you took the wrong club straight away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, as much as I think me and H, we make a joke of it, saying you don't want to be going around B&M on a Saturday, but thankfully we're members of the same golf course and gym, so you know we can get around a golf and go and sit in a spa, right, on a Saturday instead, or go and watch some games. But definitely won't be rushing into something. Look, I want to be managing today. I want to get straight back in. It's part of who I am. My OCD, the way my brain works, I need to have that, that constant thought process and constant. I need to keep it ticking. But look, like I say, I'm not underselling myself. I'm not underselling my staff, and it just goes to show that since we've left, the amount of players that have had contact from step 3 or step 4 clubs, it's crazy. And that you've got the likes of Ryan Hall and Jordan Maguire, albeit Ryan's at the real back end of his career. They played 300 Football League games between them, and they're at a club like YM without a big budget. And there's other lads that people wouldn't have heard of that I'm getting phone calls from step 3 and step 4 clubs asking about them to put them in there. So yeah, mate, I went on the golf course with this guy. Honestly, I was so embarrassed. It was incredible. But
you don't strike me as a golfer, though, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It's all in the shoulders, mate.
It's all in the shoulders, Mike, isn't it, H?
Oh, no comment.
So, Matt, over to you before we wrap up with Giles and get a couple of questions in.
Couple of quick questions. I know it's getting late, but so you've spoken a couple of times, both of you, about overachieving last season, maybe. So do you think that the results last season actually might have been more of a curse than a blessing in terms of the committee thinking that the resources you had were enough, in terms of thinking that all the extra responsibilities you had were enough because they've seen you, almost, have a shot at a playoff final and thought, well, you don't need anything else, right? So do you think that's actually come to bite the club on the arse a little bit there? It's over the cracks.
Look, I think we deliberately tried to put in an identity last year where we wanted to be the fittest, most mobile, most aggressive team in the league, but in the right way, which sometimes we found hard to, maybe didn't always control. And I think it was always going to be really hard to repeat that when you lose some of the dynamism out of the group that we lost. I think we discussed it in the committee meeting on Monday night. It's all good and well saying we don't necessarily look the same team without certain individuals. But I think we had one of the best pairs of wide players in the league last year as a pair on their day, playing for probably no more than 150, 160 a week between them. And when you lose those, to replace that is really difficult. We spoke to a number of people in the summer that wanted 75, 80% of what those two earned collectively on their own, and they hadn't posted anywhere near the numbers. And that's what I mean about giving people opportunities. It was by far Noel's best season in senior football, and that's why he's nicked the movie as. Adam is someone with some fantastic clubs on his CV who maybe hadn't realised his potential, and it was his best season for numbers. Usman Dan Soko had a bit of a torrid year the year before at Lingfield and spent most of it chasing back and playing right back, and things like that, and scored 5 goals, and then all of a sudden they're putting numbers on the board. They're playing on a senior team, on a team at the right end of the table. So I think maybe maybe we overachieved for budget, and the expectation was we could do it again and it would be easy. And I think what was really difficult was replacing some of the boys that we lost. And also a lot of those players that stayed, right, they played well below their market value, like well below it. So even to get them to go again was not the same.
I can co-sign that because I know that's bang on true.
Like, and I think that's a massive point, right? So, I'm sure Giles won't mind me sharing the budget. What was discussed was the budget was going to go up a little bit, like fantastic, but most of what it was going up by was probably spent on little pound notes here and there to keep certain key members of the group happy that they had well deserved, and would have probably lost them for even more than that to other clubs because they were sought after. So, look, maybe it's gone against us, maybe it hasn't. I think, not. It would be unfair to say either way, but I think repeating it again when there's probably an even stronger league last year. I thought it was quite a weak league. I think there was a very obvious top six, like very obvious. And I think this year it could quite easily be a top 9, top 10.
Yeah, I agree.
So, finally, from myself and perhaps for the interview, there's certainly a lot of them in the comments. So, for the both of you, any words for the YM fans that are watching tonight? They are here in their numbers.
Yeah, they are.
Do you know what? Right, it's amazing because when I walked through the door at YM, the numbers weren't there. It's the same faces, and I got a shout out especially to this young group of lads that came down. They were following Horsham FC, came down to a game. I thought they was actually with the Oppo. Got talking to them, got to meet them, etc., etc. Told them to go and get a drink on me and all the rest of it, and they came back ever since. And a group of young lads that have travelled all over Sussex, sung the players' names, and at the end of the year they actually sent me a video of the year, like a head up for the players and the memories of them travelling away and doing their thing. And look, they were incredible. But I bought them a drum because they kept hitting the bin with some sticks. So I went and bought them a drum, which then later Anne, who was on the committee, who's left now, bought my son a drum. So he had a matching one, and he was.
I bet the neighbours round the ground love that though, mate. On a Tuesday night,
we started getting in complaints, to be honest.
We
was told that we had to stop, and I said not a chance. Like they're going to continue. They're young lads. They're off the street. They're there. They're enjoying themselves, and they were fantastic. And as you can see, they're in the comments. They to me, like I say, the players mean an awful lot to me. The staff, but them young men, absolutely unbelievable. Not just them. There was others, but they especially were fantastic. So thank you.
That's what makes it worthwhile at times, though, Liam. I mean, like you said, developing a club players is one thing. Getting players higher up the period and getting moved. You've got kids off the street on a Saturday that probably will be mucking about shopping centres, getting up to mischief. You've actually given them a bit of a focus and something to do and to get into. So people don't see that. That's what non-league football's about. And because they've got interaction with the gaffer, they want to go to the games. They won't get that at Horsham. They ain't speaking to Dom, probably. They might say hello, but he won't have a relationship with it like you do. Mm-hmm. Hats off, mate.
I appreciate it.
Well, to close it out, lads, you are box office. As you said it would do numbers. There is nearly 4,000 people watching this live, just under that at the moment, which is the most this show's ever had. I saw the numbers you did yesterday as well. Incredible. You are obviously the talk of the town at the moment, lads. I want to see you back in management quick, but with the right job. Yeah, not just taking a job because you don't have to go to B&M and that. What happens?
Have you been to the one in Crawley though? By the way, you know what I mean?
Which one though? Because the one in County Mayo is dreadful.
The other one, I don't know where. But I come out like itching and that, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Put a hazmat suit on before I get back in the motor.
That's what happens when my missus says I've done too many games of football in a row. I end up having to go to Crawley.
B&M have been one of my biggest customers in the past. I ain't having you knock 'em, mate. They've kept a roof over my fucking family for years, B&M. I've sold them some right old shit, I'll tell you.
I've probably bought that right old shit as well.
You did, mate.
Watch B&M. Well, I want to say, lads, is I think you could have come on here and completely tried to rip apart, people at the club or whatever really got your back up. But I think you did it classy. I really do. You know, I think that's a great advert as well for the next team they're going to take you on. Because even though, and I know the shit you went through behind the scenes, for you to come on and do that in front of thousands of people is quite incredible. It really is. So I thank you so much for coming on. I thank you for giving us the exclusive and binning off all those old school media outlets, the ones that try to put us down, the ones that don't understand how new technology works and that. Harrison, you are an effing great mind in the football world. You really are. When I met you and we spent time together, I was blown away. And Liam, you're the guy I'd like to have in the trenches if it comes to it, yeah. So look, when you get a new club, we need the exclusive in there and that. But any one final thing to say, because you seem to have a lot of fans out there and a lot of love. Let me get one question. Who wins that league out of you two? Who wins the league?
You can say it now.
Yeah, who wins it?
I think Sussex.
Okay. Harrison?
I think I think Heath. To be fair, I think they've shout out to my boy Tutty, who they've signed as well at left back. By far the best left back at the level. Don't care what anyone says. And his initiation song, if anyone hasn't heard it yet, is the best initiation song you'll hear in football. So someone needs to get a video of that because he's top draw.
I love that. And who goes up via the playoffs? Watch your ear. I might as well get it all out of you.
I don't like to say it, but I think it might be Eastbourne United.
I'll tell you what, I saw them on Sunday, mate. They are a proper team.
Why don't you like to say it, by the way, Jolsey?
No comment.
Okay, fair enough, mate.
I think we all know why.
Shout out to my boy Alfie Jones. It's my guy. Right, lads, we're going to let you go. You've done incredible numbers, record-breaking show. You are box office. Wherever you go, you know you're gonna make noise and that. But you do win matches and you do put teams together on very little budgets. You're overachieving there. You're my guys. Harrison Williams, Liam Giles, thank you ever so much for coming to the show, and thank you ever so much for giving me the access to your club that you had there from day one. That's a fact.
Cheers,
Appreciate
boys.
it, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks for
guys.
having us.
Take care, lads. That
Thank
was
you.
a hell of a one.
Respect.
See you later, boys.
See ya.
He's got on buffering or something. What's going on there? Can you see him?
Looking normal for me for once.
Well, I think it's because this is going to blow my server because this is ridiculous amount of numbers watching that. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that you can be classy about a breakup. So let's say a breakup in that way, yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot, said a lot, got a lot of things off his chest. That's not really what this show's about. You want to go and really mouth it off, go on the IBB10 show and do that. But I thought I handled it really, really well. Where do you reckon for them, lads? Before where do you reckon? Where's next for them? Any ideas?
As he said, I reckon they'll be looking at step 4 club. So there'll be a team that sort of underachieves at step 4. The sack their manager come October time. That will be looking at. It depends on how far he wants to travel. But like you said, your preparation.
I heard it's about an hour and 20, hour and 30 from where he's based, and I think. I'm not giving away his address, obviously, but he is based near that club.
There's a lot of clubs in that small space, though, isn't there? So
there are.
Even at step 4. So
I mean, yeah, there is. But look, two great guys. Also, want to say shout out to Steve Ratcliffe and to Anne, who sadly left.
I didn't know. Was that common knowledge? That's the first I heard. When he said that, I didn't know anything about them.
I had heard, and both of those people are fantastic people. They
But
really are.
Horsham haven't officially put anything on their X account, have they?
They've announced,
No.
they've announced 2 hours ago. So just
there you
before we
go.
went on there, they announced that they've interim managers of Stephen Trussell and Archie Kramer.
Well,
Yeah.
look, Arch is a young lad. He's a fantastic up and coming coach. He runs a really good, unbelievably, a Mile Oak under 18s that we sponsor as a brand. But yeah, but he's been thrown in the deep end. I reckon 9-10 of them, the main first team players, have gone or leaving. So look, let's look out. Let's look what they have on the website. Yes. That would be extreme. They have on the website. Okay. Right, lads. Where do we get to? Because that's blowing me a bit.
We're Isthmian League next, aren't we?
Well, before
What?
we do that, Gaz, do we have a burger review in waiting?
Oh, we do have a burger review from last
And how
night.
did Lingfield get on in the end?
They were losing 3-5 last time I saw, unfortunately, after their
Yeah,
early 2-0 lead.
Hold on, I'm on it.
That is the latest. It must be about finished by now, if not.
What are we getting Rich on?
Rich, I'll tell you what, if I call Big Rich Williams now the chairman on his blower, he ain't gonna pick up to me. not if they're losing like that. No.
Corinthian.
I ain't
3-5.
fucking around with that shit.
They haven't been updating their Twitter account either, have they, Lingfield?
But no, Lingfield don't often, but Corinthian have, and it's 5-3 to Corinthian. That was 19 minutes ago in the 75th minute. So my guess is
done.
It's there or thereabouts. I'll keep you updated. I'll keep refreshing it while we're chatting. But yes, we have a burger review from last night. Arundel Football Club.
And bearing in mind, I had the same burger as well. So if he starts,
and you don't know either. You don't know what I've given it.
Go on.
So,
it wants to be a decent one as well.
What, the burger review?
Yeah. No, but it wants to be a decent score because
Okay.
you can't have given that a shit rating last night. No.
Right. Well, if you listen.
Oh yeah, go on, I'm listening. Go on then.
Sorry, no, I was reading his comment. Right. As you know, this season we're breaking it all down into 4 categories. There's a mark out of 10 for each of those categories, and overall mark is out of 40. Right? Brioche bun. Soft brioche bun. Unfortunately, it wasn't toasted.
Ooh.
That's
a shocker. You've got to toast it, haven't you?
Which did, yeah, Mike, look, for the last 2 years, right, I've done this. I've been accused of being a tight-fisted bastard and not giving out enough points, or being too uncritical of it, not critical enough. So I'm being critical this year.
Okay, no, fair play.
Bun wasn't toasted, which would have added some crunch and a bit of stability for the burger. The patties, tasty, beefy patties, just as they should be. Not going to set the world alight, but certainly do a really good job. Right? 10 out of 10 for this next one, by the way.
Cheddar cheese.
Mature cheddar cheese. Melted mature cheddar cheese. That is the only way, right, you are going to get 10 out of 10 for cheese this year.
Bit of MILF cheese.
Set the bar high. Set that bar high, Gaz.
The bacon, I gave it 8.5 out of 10. You get 2 rashers of thick cut bacon. It was cooked well. It's a decent amount. The only problem for me is the fat wasn't quite as cooked as I'd want it. And it just made it a little bit tough to eat. My first mouthful, right, I bit into it, and I got bacon hanging down in my beard.
Like that last time. You've got to render that fat, guys. Come on, get in there, burger, man. Render that fat.
Brioche bun got 6 out of 10. Beef patty, 7.5 out of 10. Mature cheddar, 10 out of 10. Bacon, 8.5 out of 10. Final score, 32 out of 40. Out of the 3 burger reviews I've done so far, that is the highest rated one.
Look at Mike's face.
He's given them first place, mate.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, when I was at Lewis...
I'd like to see the fucking burger that they're going to make to get like a 35 or a 36 out of 40.
it's a real thing this year.
Matt, Lewis, what was theirs like? Come on.
Well, they make sure you're sitting down for this, guys. They'd run out of cheese. So, I mean, instantly you're getting a 0 for that, right? So they would not be scoring very highly if we were.
And they've run out of cheese.
They had, yeah, but I get, it was a busy crowd, over 900. But yes, they'd run
No,
out.
sorry, that's not a busy crowd for Lewis, though, is it?
No,
Lewis should be used to 900. I
was
bet
a bit
if I'd
surprised.
gone looking, I'd have got an IPA or a fucking chicken shawarma from somewhere, wouldn't I? Or a vegan burger, some vegan cheese.
There's no such thing as a vegan burger. There's no such thing.
Anyway,
But
no.
yes,
Arundel go top of the table so far this year. I'm telling you now, there won't be many teams that get above 35. So Stenning, who've won it for the last few years, I know for a fact don't have mature cheddar. So they ain't going to get 10 out of 10 for that. This year we've made it a little bit more balanced, right? The burger could be good, the cheese could be shit. The cheese could be good, the burger could be shit. It's a lot more balanced. Stenning might not win it.
You're saying you can get 10 points for sticking a bit of mature cheddar cheese in there?
100%. That elevates the burger massively.
As Gordon Ramsay
I'll tell you
says,
what, you stick to your water, I'll stick to the burgers, all right?
Dugout 90, mate. Stay hydrated. Listen.
Hey, guess what? One other thing. I'm playing paddle tomorrow night.
Paddle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you playing paddle, mate?
Well, no paddle kings around here, though, is there?
Hold up. You've got land, you've got football, you're literally sitting on money. Welcome to the future of the club. Paddle is the new king here. These courts are ready to host epic matches and take your club to the next level. Contact Dugout Diaries for more info.
That's a lovely little lead into that.
Yeah. No, but genuinely, I'm playing paddle tomorrow night.
Well, for anyone that don't know, we do that. We are partnered with Paddle Kings, who are the nation's leading paddle supplier. They go into football clubs that might have a bit of spare land in there. They put the paddle courts on, and then you work in a profit share generation as well. Look, there's if you're worried about budgets or if you're worried about the future of the club and you've got a little bit of spare land, paddle is one of the fastest growing sports out there, just been taken by Olympics, and clubs are making serious bank off these.
It's the new 3G, isn't it?
It is the new 3G for clubs. It really is. I mean, I've personally seen what some clubs are going to potentially make regarding the popularity of it at the moment. So look, get in contact because there is options where Paddle Kings can install it all without any upfront money if required. There are other options available. Get in contact with me about that, yeah, and we'll go from there. But boy, lads,
Play fair with people on these paddle games.
I just want to shout at these boys quickly. Play fair. Okay.
100 clubs using them now.
Yeah, play fair. I met these guys. Some of these guys play for Pagham FC down there. They've got a wonderful app about moving fines around in your teams. We're going to get them on the show soon. So, boys, I know that. We'll get it on. How MU? How much? How much? I don't know. It's not. But yeah, look, if you've got any spare land, get in there. If you want to secure your future. Right. When we get to for like the last 15 minutes, because we are now here over 4,000 people. Which is incredible.
Amazing.
In there. So thank you to everyone who stayed, listened to obviously Harrison and Liam Giles, because you haven't turned in for us. And that. So yeah, thank you ever so much for doing that. Also, if you're out there, I want you to go and check something. Go online on one of our things and check out dugoutdatahub.com. Dugoutdatahub.com is a free tool that is run by Dougie, the AI bot there, where you can automatically create your own PDF stat packs regarding your team in your league, and you can compare them with up to 25 different graphs against other teams. And it's got every Sunday. They're autonomously updated to our website as soon as games have happened, like that as well. So go and check that. Stop mucking around with full time, where you go for about 80 different things like that here. Go and have your alerts put on there. Dugoutdatahub.com. There you go. One more time. Go on there, check it out, and we will go from there. Matthew.
Yes,
For the last
well,
15 minutes, pal.
Let's close it out by having a look at our friends dotted around step 3 in the Isthmian. There's a few different teams to talk about.
You want to start in the Prem?
Yeah, let's start with Eastbourne Borough, who we can see 4 points after 2 games. Drew their first game against Aveley. I think it was a late goal, 88th minute goal from Aveley, actually, to force the draw. So disappointment in the opening game, but they've made up for it against one of our other Sussex teams, Three Bridges, in the second game. So mixed for Borough, but only 4 clubs, as we can see, have won their opening 2 games. So being on 4 points after 2 is actually in quite a decent place. You know, first game nerves and all that. Aveley drawn to them. I think they're another club I'm expecting to be up that end of the table. So not too bad of a result for them. No need to panic just yet. You know, obviously we're expecting that they have to go back up Eastbourne, right? The resources they've put in, anything other than promotion straight back up is a failure. But very early on, probably nothing to worry about there yet. But if we go down to the other end, we've got Three Bridges. It's been a tricky... I think they've lost both of their games 3-2, Dartford and then Eastbourne Borough. And when you look at the games they've got coming up, Chatham Town, again, you know, I think they're full-timers in that league, aren't they, right? So tough game away as well. Aveley, who, again, are a team I'm expecting to be up there. Dulwich Ham, it's a tough start for Three Bridges, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any easier. Now, fantastic manager at the helm, right? I'm sure they won't be panicking yet. You know, it's all very level-headed there, but it's obviously not an ideal start sitting down there 21st after 2 games. But it's a long season ahead, but yeah, definitely some tough games still to come over the next couple of weeks. Then just above them, we've got Lewis, who, again, I watched play, lost their opening game 4-0 at home to Enfield, which, again, very much deserved. But, you know, you've got to shout it out. 0-0 last night against Whitehawk, who I tipped to be, you know, right up there this year. So they've sorted things out at the back. They just need to work out how to score, because they are yet to score so far this season. So
I think it's a tough one for Three Bridges, isn't it?
It is.
They're not used to losing, especially last season, maybe some of the season before. They've got to really dig deep to get out of that shit. I know it's only early.
It is, but
it's only early, and they're a fucking great team, mate.
Well, they scored 2 goals.
They're a young team. They will be more than all right, I think.
Yeah, they've scored 2 goals in both games and have come away without a point. So that's tough, mate, against 2 very, very good teams. Yeah. So look, they're scoring goals. If they weren't scoring goals or creating chances, there would be...
What is next?
Sorry?
Matt?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who's
what
next?
happened then? Go on.
No, we're good.
Grant was talking then.
I was in the middle of...
I can't even see Grant. There's so many people on the server that Grant... shit you not. There's
Thanks,
so many
mate.
people on there. He's been looking like a buffering Will for ages.
So well, Jolesy didn't want to speak to me either. When I come on, his buffering went and it came back on for everyone else. But no, I was just saying, Mike, yeah, look, they've scored 2 goals in each of their games. So they've lost 3-2 and 3-2 against 2 very, very good teams. They'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. And it is hard. You know, they're used to winning games of football. They pissed that league last year because they were the best team. There might be a little bit of adaptation to be going up a level, but, mate, they'll be absolutely fine, 100%.
I mean, against Eastbourne, they were 3-0 down after 46 minutes, right? So they've then pulled 2 back, shown real characters. So, you know, I think that says a lot of what they're about, right? They're not going to drop their heads. Yeah, it's a bit of a mindset change, right? You know, not just in the league, but the cup last season as well, right? You know, they're used to winning. They're used to being in charge. They're used to playing in a certain way. And yeah, it will take a little bit to get over that and you know, adapt to the league. But I think, like you've said, I don't think there's anything to worry about yet. You know, if they were getting battered like 5-6-0 both of those games, maybe it's a different story. but they've shown what they're about. They've not let their heads drop even in the games where they've gone heavily behind, and that they've tried to pull it back. So yeah, nothing to worry about just yet from them.
Now, but if you follow him on Twitter as well, you look at Krellin's interviews. He's been very critical and harsh on them, going, "We need to do better." So he'll be on it with the boys.
He has high standards, which we've seen. That's how they've got, performed so well in the last 2 seasons. So I think that he'll have a level head. He'll know what needs to be done and what needs to be changed. So yeah, not too worried about them. Burgess Hill, we've had someone say looked very good last night. Yeah, in their 3-0 romping over Whiteleaf, who are having a little bit of trouble after their step up last season. Lost in the opening game, Burgess Hill away to Brentwood Town. So mixed results, but again, nothing to worry about that. They're 9th right now, which I think honestly could be where they end up finishing the season, right? I think that's very on brand for Burgess Hill to sort of be in and around it, like always the bridesmaid, never the bride sort of thing. So I think that's nothing too surprising there from them. And then we've got our lonely friends, Chichester, who have been punted over to the Southern League. Mixed results for them. They lost in the opening game against Poole Town, who playoffs last season, probably in and around it again, so no shame in that. And then picked up I would say, quite impressive 1-0 win against Wimborne Town last night, grinded it out, a pen in the 22nd minute, saw it out. So that's exactly what you need to do on Tuesday night away at Wimborne. I don't think it's anyone's idea of a great time. So yeah, they're again sort of mid-table right now. That's where I'd expect them to.
Just while we're on Chichester, did anyone see the statement that came out from the FA last week?
Yes,
about the barriers.
Yeah, perfect.
Look, it's too little, too late for
why
Billy
is it
Viger.
taking so long? They should have done it straight away.
The reason it's taken so long, it should have been done straight away. I'm glad it's been done. It's too little, too late for Billy Viger and all his family and everything else. But I'm glad it's been done now, and hopefully teams will start to make those changes as soon as possible. I'd like to see, and I'm not normally one for this, if it's not done by the end of the season, I'd like to see fines in place, relegations happen, and so on, because there should be some severe punishment for these teams that don't get it done. I appreciate it's very difficult, but that needs to happen.
It just has to become part of the ground grading, right, to be allowed to participate in those leagues at that level, right? So yeah, I agree completely. I think that's it though. So Littlehampton and Bognor haven't played yet in the league, so nothing to say.
But they've got an
they got each other.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that game.
I'm at that game as well
to start things off. So yeah, is that right?
Yeah, all right, Wilf. I'm sure he will. It might take you there, Wilf.
So before we finish, where is everybody heading this weekend? Anyone got anything lined up?
Yes, I am off to Shoreham versus Lancing, local derby. Obviously, I know both chairmen very well. Obviously, both teams need to win in there. There's going to be a lot of people down there. I've heard that there is, it's going to be a big game for both teams and both managers, I think.
Are you driving?
No, there's no need to drive it. I'll get the rattler. In fact, no, I'm not driving because I think my wife's chauffeuring me again, which is...
Well, you probably should drive, then you won't drink.
So there, but there's a couple...
Yeah, but then the problem with Mike not drinking is Shoreham's bar takings will absolutely plummet. And whenever he's been to a game, they've had record like us since we've been back. They've had record amounts every time through the bar.
To be fair, look, and I do put a couple of quid through Sean Bar, but I do get a good deal. I do get a very good deal. New Longman Bar there, but yeah, that's where I'm going. FA Vars expect
it should be a close game. To be fair, I think very evenly matched.
I've got a few. I believe I might even be going to watch Worthing United on the Monday play a little game. There's a little friendly game. I'm sure City will tell me about that. But I think that's about it, isn't it? Where you going, Matt? Where's Grant going?
So-
I can't hear him, obviously.
Well, yeah, we can ask him. You won't know, but me and Gaz and the audience can find out. Where you going, mate?
Well, I'm working Saturday, so I'm going to be going to Roffey on Sunday. So they got a
Nice,
game on Sunday against Hollands Blair. So I'll be going over to that one, mate, on Sunday.
Nice. Gaz, yourself?
I don't know. It's my missus' birthday next week, so we're having a bit of a shindig at ours this Saturday. But I'm hoping, right, if I can take my daughter out in the morning until sort of 1:30ish, 2:00, I might get a little bit of time in the afternoon to go and watch a game. Now, I'd love to go Woodside Road and watch Worthing National League, but it's the middle of the month. It's my wife's birthday. Let's be realistic. I'll probably end up at Shoreham, to be honest with you, Mike.
Nice.
Lovely.
Nice.
I love that. And where you going, mate?
So I am taking things down a level to go and watch a team that I am very excited about this season. I am going to go and watch Uckfield in their first game of the season.
Nice.
And again, I don't want to hype them up too much because hard work still has to go in on the pitch. But I'm imagining they're going to have a very strong season this time around. Tommy at the wheel, a lot of recruitment, a real overhaul of the club. I think on and off the pitch as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
I reckon you'll see a few players that you saw at Ringmer last year, if I'm being honest with you.
I did see. I did go to Ringmer, see him play last year. And when I went to watch Uckfield last year, I actually saw them in one of the 2 wins they got all season against Copthorne. So maybe I'm a good luck charm.
Where do you reckon?
Well, I know Will's a fucking great player. All right, he is there. He's obviously just got his move to where he'd gone. I don't know, mate, but I know you won't be short of offers.
Will he go back to Lingfield?
As far as I know. That's what I think, anyway.
Mike can't hear me.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up then with an absolutely incredible amount of people watching live. Thank you so much. Obviously, we do this for you. We put our own money into it. We fund it all. We don't have sponsors. You can see that. That's why we literally have a little hydration break and that. Teams get on my Dugout 90. I want to say thank you to everyone as well that got the Dugout News, who today over 500 of you decided to download and read that for issue 1. Now, if anyone out there wants a little read again, I'm just going to post it in the comments there. Go in there, sit there, click on that link, and you go and download it yourself. Incredible, record-breaking day. Thank you to Liam Giles. Thank you to Harrison. Thank you to Grant, who I haven't been able to hear because the service crashed so much in the last half hour. Thank you to the food guy, who seems to be really, really harsh on his burger reviews at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Because I had the same burger and I would have gave it at least a 36, 37.
I thought Mike was going to be doing bar reviews. Gaz.
Well, he's not allowed anymore.
And I'm the water boy.
Yeah.
I just got one more thing quickly. I want to apologise to Pete L on Twitter because he put a message up last night. You might know him, Grant.
I do, yeah. I do know Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear Grant now, finally.
Oh, wow. That's because loads of people have left the server, Mike, probably.
No, I
can't.
He commented on something last night and I just felt it was a little bit rude and a bit blunt, so I went at him a little bit.
He's a good guy.
I love the smoke.
Did you see it, Matt?
I did see it, and I did wonder if he just caught you in a bad moment. Bless him.
It was one word and a question mark. Do you have the full-time results, please? Would be much more appropriate. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have gone as I did. If you want to have a look at it, go and have a look on the fixtures.
Start a bit of beef, did you? Start a bit of online beef.
I just felt it was a bit rude at the time. I know he was watching.
Were you tired, Gaz?
It was 20 past 10. Sorry? It was 20 past 10. But just for someone to put results question mark, just so you know, we all do this in our spare time. This isn't a full-time job.
Oh, I know what you mean. I saw that.
Yeah, this isn't a full-time job. So sometimes things...
fuck it, go him.
Sometimes... No, he's a nice bloke, Pete. He's a top bloke. I've got a lot of time.
Sometimes...
He wouldn't have meant it like that. He wouldn't have meant it like that.
No, but it comes across like that. Sometimes we get stuff out straight away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I know from personally, I watched normally 2 games a week. I have a full-time job that I'm doing 40, 50 hours a week on. I have my own business. I have 2 kids. I got a dog and a wife. Somehow I have to fit it all in. Sometimes I can't get it all in there.
So what are you moaning about?
I had a beer last night. That's what it was.
Maybe.
I didn't. Well, actually, I had one tonight.
You did, but you have one. You're walking down like that with his one beer that he had all night. Anyway, rant over. Thanks very much. Have a good evening.
Everyone
Thank you,
out there, thank you ever so much. We are back next week with the show.
Renegade Master.
Yep. Getting your goals in, getting your stories in, and also, if you fancy being a contributor to the mighty Dugout News, let us know, because we had 12, 13 people. I don't know if you've got any match reports out there. If you want to talk about a little bit about Sussex football, it doesn't matter what it is. You want to talk about refs, pitches, budgets, sustainability, teams in form, or just rant off, or player development, anything like that, get in contact, because we want contributors. And look, you can get them to me before Saturday. You'll go to press on Sunday. As well as Matt has been in there, Gareth's been there, and we might get one from Grant today. So, yeah, truly appreciate everyone. That
Just Mike, can you hear me yet?
At the moment, we last checked, there was over 4,312 people watching live. That's without some of the other things that we had, like the Insta and stuff like that. It's incredible. Thank you to Liam Giles. Thank you to Harrison Williams. And thank you to everyone who supports us. We'll be back. And if you want a bit of banter, get on the IBB10 show, which will be on Sunday at 8 o'clock on YouTube. That's a little bit more out there for people that don't know. It's a little bit more talk showy, anything goes, and it gets wild. We're supposed to be the sensible ones. But for everyone out there, you have been amazing. Thank you so much for everything today. We must let you go. Thanks for listening.
Good evening.
Bye-bye, everybody.